Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. Look, I know. Mr. Z, I mean, you gotta stay consistent with your times, Mr. Z. How you a whole? So you're late sometimes, and today you like 20 minutes early. What you got going on, Mr. Z? Look, I might have something to do later, so I want to come in, and let's knock this out now while I still have the chance to. So, yeah, shout out to the brother Obsidian. Shout out to Shay Sade. The dating divide looked like it's making its rounds, right? The conversation about black women's loyalty, air quotes loyalty to black men or black love, um, obviously more and more is becoming more and more dispelled. So the reason why this is important, and let's just talk about it, is because for decades we heard otherwise. So first of all, let's get this out the way. Mr. Z doesn't believe in none of this. Like, I believe in black love. I believe in black people that want to be with other black people, being with those other black people, including ADOS that want to specifically end up with ADOS, ending up with ADOS people, or FBA, whichever you. I am for that. But I'm not for loyalty when actually you just have a dearth of options, right? You have a lack of options and choices. And that's what it has been for decades. Black men have always known this, but now we have proof of it. Now, what I want to stress, and I actually might, if I can find a way to link it, I'll link it in the comments also, is this is not exclusive to black women. It's women of color that worship at the altar of white men, right? Um, so that's what's very interesting. It's not just black women, it's Latinas, it's Asian women, both South and East Asian women who, and I want to stress this part of the conversation, they're the ones who put white men and white patriarchy on a pedestal. And the reason why that is important is because for decades, the way this conversation has been framed is that men of color, including but particularly black men, are the least loyal to their I guess sexual partners, their romantic partners, right? So black men in particular put white women and white femininity on a pedestal. What we're finding out more and more, right? This is why this is the beauty of the internet, right? The internet will expose us all, like I say all the time. The beauty of where we are now is we're finding out no, actually, black women and other women of color put white femininity on a pedestal. That's the truth. That's the honest truth. The truth is that black women, Latina women, Asian women put white femininity on a pedestal, and the person that they think that can give them white femininity is white men. So they also put white masculinity, white patriarchy on a pedestal. Have fun trying to tear down white patriarchy, FD signifier and the like. Have fun with that one. Right? Have fun fighting white women. Yeah, y'all got a handful of weirdo white feminists over there. Have fun getting white women to help you tear down white patriarchy. Y'all really think white women want to be at work? Right? You really think white women mean 50-50? Okay. Right. So, shout out to the brother Obsidian. The video that I was referring to, there's a video that I checked out where and I'm not going to go in because this is a minor, so I'm just going to give y'all the details and speak about this in a macro sense. For those of you that just heard me say a minor, y'all might even know where I'm going if you know. So there's a video circulating around of a young Asian girl, look like she's maybe high school. She looks more than middle school, but look like she's around high school age, um, saying some racist things and kind of like trying to, from what I see, appeal to white racist, I guess, boys. We'll say, because she's a minor. So once again, and she goes in on black people. It's a very short video, and she's making a parody and mocking black people, black death, or black like slavery, and she's mocking it. And her dad makes her apologize. Her Asian dad says, "This is my daughter, such and such. We do not encourage racism here," and he makes her apologize, and she apologizes, and she's does the whole "I didn't mean to be offensive" thing, and et cetera, et cetera. Why am I bringing that video into this conversation? Why am I also going to bring up Mindy Kaling into this conversation? And why am I also going to bring up Amanda? I've covered her a little while ago. What is her last name? Amanda Marianne? I can't remember. Why am I going to bring her also in this conversation? Because all of them worship white dudes. It's always, hey, it's about the white penis, bro. I want to be vulgar. I'm sorry. I don't want to be politically correct. I might not use profanity, but I do want to be vulgar here. Yo, it's all about the white penis for these women, bro. They just want to shoot out some mixed tragic mulatto or tragic Blasian babies and be exalted by their white god, their white king, and call it a day. Look, Mr. Z is not actually against it, believe it or not. I'm making fun of it because of these women trying to find a backwards way of always saying that it was always about white men. And their backwards way was always saying either the men of their own race weren't on their level or the men of their own race weren't checking for them, weren't attracted to them. When we find out more and more that actually it's you. Now, Mr. Z has covered this topic multiple times. Um, what I'm saying right now for many of you is not anything new in particular, but we have to call a thing a thing. And the reason why this matters in a larger societal effect, I guess I'll say, is when we talk about patriarchy and getting rid of patriarchy and bringing about something more egalitarian. Do we actually mean getting rid of black patriarchy, which we can argue never existed, getting rid of South Asian patriarchy, getting rid of East Asian patriarchy, getting rid of indigenous patriarchy, getting rid of, are we saying that believing white patriarchy? So white men can have patriarchy, everybody else, And for the women that want to be taken care of and that want strong men, they will be regulated to white men, while simultaneously holding white men and white patriarchy up on a pedestal, right? While simultaneously saying they don't want patriarchy, while simultaneously saying that the men in their communities don't provide and protect, so that's why they're going to white men, right? So, in other words, black women and other women of color are saying patriarchy for me and none for thee. So the white man gets to have patriarchy. You black men, you can't. And by the way, because you're not patriarchs, I'm going to the white man. Right? Because I actually want patriarchy, but I don't want you to be the patriarch. I want that white man to be the patriarch. And because you're not the patriarch, I'm going to go to that white man because he's the patriarch. What? Right? So shout out to the brother Obsidian for covering this. Once again, great job, and he read the book. So I didn't read the book. I watched the interviews, and I poured through that. But he actually read the book, right? And shout out to Shay Sade, who, from my understanding, is also currently reading the book, The Dating Divide. And I think both of them are trying to bring in Dr. Jennifer Lundquist if they can, right? And excuse my background. I know you guys might be able to hear the rain right now. Yes, it is raining in South Florida because it's South Florida, right? So of course, right. But I just want to make sure that I stress this. This is about white patriarchy and the white penis. And what is beautiful, and this is why I told you I love the internet for this. For decades, these people kept on making it seem like men of color are jealous of women of color's progress. We're sexist, misogynist a-holes. We're jealous of white men. Once we get on, because it's not a trope just in the black community, although it is bigger in the black community of a trope, which is once we get on, we try to get us a white woman, and and successful men of color, primarily black men, of course. The first thing we do is get money and try to get us a white woman, and actually, factually inaccurate. The only difference is that black women and other women of color couch them chasing after white men under the cloud of victimology, right? I'm a victim of the colorist, racist, sexist European beauty standard that the men of my own demographic have adopted. So I have to end up with the white man. I don't have a choice because the men of my own demographic are either not on my level, they don't value education, or they've adopted the European beauty standards, so they want white women. So I have no choice but to be with white men. Instead of just coming out and just saying, yeah, I want to be with a white dude. Right? Just and shout out to you, Big Kev, exactly. And Big Kev says, and y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Big Kev says Amanda Marianne's case is bad, is so sad because she's actually pretty, but lacks genuine self-respect. Bro, if you see the video she did of like the feminine men, and she's talking about and it's white dudes. It's straight up white, and it's like, of course, right? And her example of like these kind of more pure, softer, more understanding men, right? These men that could kind of like not be all this macho men, and they're comfortable with their sexuality to the point where they wear skirts and I'm like, Jaden Smith? No, Jaden? No, okay, all right, right? You could have found black examples too, or Latino examples too, but y'all always find, and this is the difference between men and women. Women think they not saying the same thing. You're saying the same thing, you just using different words, and it takes you 30 minutes to get to it. Where it'll take a minute. I would like to go back to the example that BGS had. It took Obsidian all of 3 minutes to describe his dating history, and him not being preferred. It took him like 3 minutes to describe it to Dr. T. Hassan Johnson. It took Ostefko 30 minutes, or like 20 something minutes, but let's say 30 minutes. And so, because it takes women an hour to get to the point, and because they hide all of their preference, it is just your preference. Call your preference a thing, just call it what it is. And because they want to be obscure and they don't want to call it a thing, because you get what you get once you tell us what you want, whatever your outcomes are, what your outcomes are. So you want to mitigate for that. So because it takes you an hour and you hide behind euphemisms, you think you're not saying the same thing the men are saying. So a man that says, I want a Latina straight up, he's offensive. A woman that tries to use victimology to say, I want a white dude, and it takes her 30 minutes to get to the point. It takes her an hour to get to the point. She thinks she's not saying the same thing. You're saying the same thing. You're saying the same thing. So yeah, Big Kev, yeah, Amanda Marianne and all the rest of them, the Mindy Kalings, the Chrissies, all of them are the same. The Lexus Exodus, all of y'all are the same. Right? That's why Chrissy trying to make it seem, oh, y'all are so mean about the way y'all talk about your preferences. Why? Because we don't make it a victim thing. Now, some brothers do, but for the most part, because we don't make it a victim thing, that's why we're so mean, because it takes you a series of videos spanning 8 years, Chrissy, 7 years, Chrissy. So black men are mean because we got to it within the first video, within the first 5 minutes of the first video. Yeah, we're mean. It took you years to just say, you know what, I date out, and I'm polygynous or polyamorous, and I do what I want to do. And damn you black men, and you black women for birthing them. Right? So you think you different. You're not. Right? Mindy Kaling thinks she different. Oh, the men of my race and colorism. And meanwhile, she feeding for white dudes, and white dudes that made her a goddamn baby mama. Goddamn. Right? Amanda Marianne thinks she different, using these are the men that they're comfortable with their sexuality. They're not trying to be this macho thing, and they're not trying to posture. And her examples are all white dudes. Right? Why did we? It was so, growing up in the 90s, it was just constantly beaten into your head that black men were lacking. Black men just were full of just shortcomings, and they just were the worst thing ever for black women. They were a nuisance. They were a scourge on the black community. Straight black men were a scourge and are a scourge on the black community. And the handful of them that are not were so self-hating. The second they start making any type of money above stable, they ran to the first white arms they could find. And the ones of them that weren't all about white women were about black men and white men because they were secretly on the DL. They were secretly gay. That's all you heard through the 90s. 20 years later, 30 years later, now what? Now that y'all don't just get to hide behind the white racist man, the white racist woman in their microphone, now what? Now that we actually have studies and data and facts and research that show actually y'all are chasing after them white dudes too, they just not checking. They're racist. I don't know why you didn't think they weren't racist. We're not even going to get into the anecdotes from all the brothers, all the black men, all the Latino men, all the Asian men, both East and South Asian, all the indigenous men. We're not going to get into the fact that when we talk to white guys, they tell us how they running through these women of color. When more than half of them never, ever, it was never going to be marriage, bro. It was never a thing. Dear women of color, primarily black women, Brad was never going to marry you. You call it dating. He called it smashing. When we talk to you, yeah, I dated a white dude. We go talk to that same white dude. Dated? No, we had sex for like 6 months. We had sex in my car on lunch break for like 6 months. We had sex after work for like 9 months. Dating? We weren't dating. Yeah, I took her out a couple of times, maybe. And that's for the ones that actually did that. And I want to be very clear. It's not that Mr. Z is mad. We've covered this multiple times. The subject is actually a bit old. But I'm saying all of this to reiterate and to follow up behind, well, myself first, right? And to follow up behind Shay Sade and to follow up behind Obsidian by saying, could we stop talking about loyalty? No, you live in a racist, anti-black country. And the men of color and white men are just not interested. It's not that you're more loyal black women, and that it's that you live in a anti-black country. And that doesn't mean every white man to a man, or every Latino man to a man, or every Asian man to a man. Now, for the Asians, it's damn near every Asian man to a man are not interested in black women. That's not what we're saying. But we're saying in general, no. And quite frankly, and I said this before, let me say it again. For you to be appealing in that way to white men, you would have to tear down the same white patriarchy that's causing you to put him on the pedestal in the first place. The reason why you're chasing after the white man, the reason why you find him so appealing, for him to turn around and be more open to black women, you would have to tear down the same white patriarchy that's causing you to put him on the pedestal in the first place. All that providership and protection, and he's the face of class and he's the face of status. You would have to tear that down for him to be more open to being in relationship with black women in the first place. You see that catch-22 there? You see that catch? That's a serious catch-22. Damn. I want the white man. But, and my sisters, my black sisters, they want the white man too. But for him to take black women seriously and not see us through a racist filter and a classist filter, and race is class in America, we would have to tear down the white patriarchy, which is half the reason why I want him in the first place. Ugh. You see how that work? And I'm sorry for that noise just now, you guys. But yeah, y'all see how that work? Yikes. That's a difficult one right there, ain't it, Mindy Kaling? That's why Mindy Kaling sounds so schizophrenic on all these shows where she does the voiceover or where she's there. The white man, he look at me racist and sexist and da da da, but I secretly still want him. That's why she sounds schizophrenic. All these people sound schizophrenic. All these white worshippers sound schizophrenic. Of course they do. They hate that the club is so exclusionary, but they want to be part of the club. The fact that the club is so exclusionary is half the reason why they want to be part of it. That's half the reason why it's so enticing. I hate what white men have done to this planet, but secretly I want to be anointed by him. I want him to hold me up. I want to be part of his group. Boy, it must be tough being a woman of color in a Western country. You fighting white supremacy? Not really. You fighting white supremacy while secretly wanting to be part of their group. Yikes. Right? Jeez. Gee. So, and let's stress that part too. It's not loyalty. Dear black women, and this one is not even on divestors and swirlers, because you hear black women that only date black men say this too. It's not loyalty. Stop. In other parts, and Obsidian didn't cover this, but Shay Sade, and I actually have this excerpt in my community chat. Shay Sade covered it. It's not loyalty. White people see the advances of people of color. So this is not exclusive to white men. White men and white women, they see the advances of people of color. In other words, they see people of color trying to hit on them, trying to flirt with them. They ignore it. Did you hear me, people of color, men of color, women of color? They see you flirting with them. They ignore it. They pretend like they don't get it. We all done seen it. I've said it before. Let me say it again. The black girl, the Latina, the Asian, really the black girl and Latina, flirting with the white dude. He acting like a 12-year-old, like he don't get it. You talk to him during happy hour. He tell, yeah, man. She's been doing that for a year. She's been doing that for 6 months. She's been doing that for 9 months. I'm not interested. Ask Mr. Z how he know. Any brother that ever worked with these white guys, they know. Now, some of the white guys will smash. So, shout out to all you women of color that think that he's actually going to wife you. I know it, but the worst yet, it got to be the Asian women got to be the ones that's in the worst position. Because so many white men marry Asian women that those of you that he's only going to smash and he turns around and marry a white woman, oh, it got to hurt. Oh, you Asian, I know, especially you East Asian women. That's what I'm talking about, really. Oh, you thought so. If I'm not mistaken, didn't Richard Spencer, yes, Mr. Alt-Right himself, at one point, I think he had an Asian girlfriend. Now, he married a white woman. I think they're divorced now. But at one point, if I'm not mistaken, he had an Asian girlfriend. Oh, you thought you were going to be Mrs. Spencer, married to the racist white dude, like all the other Asian women that are married to racist white men. Oh, it gotta hurt. Right? You thought you were going to be like Derek Chauvin's Asian ex-wife. Ooh, Mr. Z, god damn, you went there. Yeah, I did. You thought you were going to be like Derek Chauvin's ex-wife. Oh, I didn't know he was racist. Yeah, whatever. Oh, he's I'm going to divorce him right now. Yeah, whatever. You trying to tell me you were married to this man for how many years and you ain't know he was anti-black? He didn't show you he had the propensity to choke a Negro out? Yeah, that's it. Shout out to all you women of color who keep on telling yourself, I just hope one day, I know he's racist as hell. I just hope one day he doesn't expose it to the rest of the world. That black woman that was in a relationship dating the racist white Latino dude down here in South Florida. And then he go expose. I'm not racist. Yeah, y'all caught me sending racist text messages, but I'm not racist. Look, I got a black girlfriend. All of you that what's the dude from Hawaii that was part of the Proud Boys, one of the leadership of the Proud Boys, black wife, Trump supporter, black wife. He can't be racist. He has a black wife. 400 years ago, 300 years ago, slave owners, writing letters to each other, talking about how disgusting black people are, how black people are a lower grade of human being if they're even human. Meanwhile, he's having sex with a 12-year-old black girl. Benjamin Franklin, you know what? Goddamn. Huh. We don't even gotta go 300 years ago. We could go 60, 70 years ago. Who was it? Strom Thurmond? Which one of them had the black baby mama? You over here, segregation today, tomorrow, and forever. Meanwhile, huh? So miss me with all of that. You can't be racist if you got a black wife. You can't be racist if you got a Latina wife. You can't be anti-black just because you have a black wife. Just because you got a Latina wife. Just because you have an Asian wife. No, these women's concept of patriarchy and being provided for and being protected, a black woman will marry a white dude knowing this white dude despises black people. Didn't Godfrey give y'all that little anecdote of the Italian dude that'll be saying inward this, inward that, inward this while holding the hand of his black girlfriend? Right? Exactly, Ninja Person. And Ninja Person says he's invited to the cookout. Funny how the dudes invited were mostly white dudes. All the white dude got to do is do this two-step. If he's tatted, he got a little fade. He played basketball with the brothers. He could do a little two-step. Black women will swoon over that dude. I would like to direct you to Chet Hanks. Kevin Hart ex-wife over here swooning over him, throwing herself on him. I'm sorry, Miss Hart. Listen, Chet Hanks will never. He might have piped you already, but marry you? Tom Hanks will write that dude right out of his will. Yeah, he might have a thing for black women, but he would never. Stop it. And I get it, black women. I get it, women of color. It's sad. It's sad because you throwing yourself on the white dudes, and sometimes, every once in a while, they'll smash. They'll smash long enough for you to think it's a thing, and then they ghost your ass. Or they slowly ghost your ass. We all seen it. The Asian girl, the Latina, the black girl, the black woman. I'm sorry, I'm infantilizing them. The black woman, the Latina, the Asian woman. You thought you had an in, you don't got an in. Right? It's called racism, people. It's called white supremacy. It's called in-group preference. We don't even, okay, fine. We don't even got to talk white supremacy. Okay, in-group preference. We don't even have to talk about them being racist. Just in-group preference. Then you could talk about racism in the European beauty standard. But if you don't want to go that far, you could just talk about in-group preference. Right? And I get it. And what he had his soul says, Z, most of these black women already know the white man aren't gonna marry them. They're not that dumb. No, we know. We're being so overt. We're being so blatant. We're being so obvious. Look, Mr. Z has never shied away from being Captain Obvious if I need to be. right? We're giving them what did Ebony K. Williams say? I'm not giving you no soft space to land. I know you don't want to play that game over here, Miss Ebony K. Williams. Y'all, you picked the wrong group of men to play the I'm not giving y'all no soft space to land. Uh, you want to play that game with the Black Manosphere? Game on, right? Game on, right? So that's why I sound the way I do. What he had a soul, because let's be very clear: there are black women that are ride or die for black men. There are black women that are ride or die for black men. They mean it, and you see it. And then there's the others. Oh, we're too loyal to black men. That's the issue. What was it on the crew? Was it on the crew where the lady, where the girl was like, or the lady? I'm sorry, let's not infantilize her. Where the lady was like, y'all think it's all about y'all? I could go get me a Asian man, a Latino man, a white man, and you go through the comments of the one I at least saw on Instagram. It is nothing but white dudes and Latino dudes will be like, no, I'll pass. I don't know what she's talking about next. Nope, not me. We'll pass her to the Indian. The Indian guy's like, nope, we'll pass it to the Latinos. The Latinos are like, nope, we'll pass it to the white dudes. The white dudes are like, nope, pass her back to the black men. So while black women are think they're funny in the comment section, all you're saying is that you offer good hugs because the brother was like, ain't nobody gonna hug you the way we hug you. And you, it's not feeling. While black women over here saying, well, all y'all can offer is good hugs. What about the money? What about this? What the dude, the other non-black men in the comments, y'all missing that part. They flaming her. So while y'all over here chastising the brother for not being essentially a white man, the white man and the other men, the other men you compare black men to, they're saying, yeah, nah, we're straight. Nope, not interested. Right? Now, some of the brothers and sisters in the comments have their head on right, and they're like, yo, but I hate when we do the whole, we're the only, we're not the only. But they're like, yo, we're the only people that like that's airing this dirty laundry. We're the only ones that's having this conversation in public. We're the only people. First, once again, we're not the only. Everybody is hyper focused on us having the conversation. I promise you, Asians are having the conversation too, as covered by some others of the Asian girl that was like, oh, these Asian men are evil. Y'all want to know why we're not with good looking Asian men? Because good looking Asian men are evil. So you're with basic ass bobs, basic ass white dudes. Hey, listen, women of color, y'all gotta come up with better answers, bro. I don't even want to call it excuses because I don't believe in people having to make excuses for liking what you like. If you're into a particular type of man, a particular ethnicity, a particular race, call it that and stand on it. It's just that women of color always got to find some backwards way, and maybe it's because you realize somewhere deep down behind in the back of your brain that it's because you just said screw it, colonialism worked, it's all about white men and I just want to get down with their program. Maybe it could be that, but just call a thing. You want the white dudes and just own it. But women of color always got to come up with some weird ass, I'm a victim of the men of my own race. That's why I want the white man. And it just so happens to be a coincidence that the white men are the richest people on the planet right now. And they're the ones with the strongest militaries minus China right now. That just so happens to be a coinkydink that we're basing men on men and what men are on white concepts of masculinity and patriarchy. That's just a coincidence. Just call a thing, women of color. That includes black women, by the way. And Mr. Shug to you, thank you for the super chat. Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Thank you button for the replay squad. And Mr. Shug to you says, what group of women is the most race loyal, brother? uh, um, uh, uh, well, I guess white women, but it doesn't count because they're with the men that's on top, right? So I guess in at least in the West, in America specifically, it would be white women. But white women are with the like by default they're the most loyal because they're with the men that all the other women want. And I want to be clear. I don't want to be too obtuse. I said obtuse. Sorry, y'all. I don't want to be too obtuse. You know, this is not all women of color. Let's be very clear. This is not all black women. And I'm saying that for a reason, but the trend is the trend, ladies. The trend is the trend. Y'all ever notice when I talk and I say, this is not just black men, this is all men? Because in the back of black women's minds is some escape hatch to like non-black men. Like, okay, well, Mr. Z's saying that, but that's only for black men. If worst come to worst, I'll just jump out to some non-black men. That's why I always say, no, this is men, right? That's why I make sure to say that, right? So, we're covering this today to back up Obsidian, to back up Shay Sade, and to back myself up. And the reason why I hit it first, funny for those of you that peeped, it's a reference to Ray J and the song, that BS song that Ray J made about smashing Kim Kardashian first. And so that's Mr. Z just making a joke with Obsidian and Shay Sade and just saying, hey, y'all don't forget Mr. Z, the one who brought y'all the dating divide. I hit it first, right? So that's just me making it funny. But to get back to a more serious matter, look, especially for upwardly mobile women, this is where we're gonna bring up Mindy Kaling again. This is when we're gonna bring up Amanda Marianne again. This is when we're gonna bring up Ebony K. Williams. This is when we're gonna bring up these women. For upwardly mobile women, like Mahogany Pink, if she's a professor like we think, or at least she was tutoring college students, like she said on her interview with Lexus Exodus. Lexus Exodus, from my understanding, is making six figures. Upwardly mobile black women, just say it. Look, I feel like I've elevated myself out of men of my own race, and I want my femininity to be appreciated by the men on top who are white men, and that's just what it is. Am I truly beautiful if it's not a white man that's telling me that I'm beautiful? Am I truly a woman the way I want to see my femininity, like a white woman? Am I truly a woman if a white man doesn't call me a woman? Right? Am I truly a woman? Right? And so for the women that think like that, and I know for y'all don't think y'all think like that. Y'all actions so different though. The actions show that's what y'all think. It's okay. Own it. Stop with the BS victim talk. Stop with the BS loyalty talk. You're not. A lack of choices doesn't automatically mean that you're more loyal. No, they're just more racist. Right? And we know what country we live in. And it's interesting when you hear these people talk. Now, this is not exclusive to women. It's not exclusive to black women, but because we're talking about women, we're talking about black women. When you hear particularly black women say this, right, which is, I could just go get me a white man. Wait, you're just going to go pick a white man off of a tree? Wait, so he has no agency in this whatsoever? You're just going to go to the woods and just go pick a white man off of a tree like you're picking a leaf? You're just going to go to your nearest Walmart and go to the Isle of Man? Which, by the way, there's really an Isle of Man. And just go pick you a white man, right? You're just going to go pick you a Latino man. Oh, this one look good. And okay, all right. I like the way this one is built. And that he got sturdy arms. And okay, he looked like he worked out. It looked like he lift weights. He got all right, yeah, I'll take this one. What's the price on this one? Right? Jeez, y'all are some weirdos. So let me say this again. What you got to say now, Chrissy? Where you at? Uh-oh. Oh, I forgot. Chrissy's gonna find some backwards way of saying, well, white men are not like black men. They're more loyal to their women. Chrissy, more and more data is coming out saying the lack of loyalty isn't from black men. Uh-oh. The lack of loyalty is from black women. See, if y'all didn't catch it, that's why BGS a couple years ago put out the data of who's the one really having children out of wedlock with non-black people. Uh-oh. Well, damn, Mr. Z. Which one of us is truly the one having children out of wedlock with non-black people? Oh, well, black women, y'all want to start talking? Huh? So when we talk about a lack of loyalty, who's the one that's really not loyal? Right? And shout out to Toya. Thank you for the super chat. Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Thank you button for the replay squad. And I know it's raining hard over here, so that's why if y'all hear me sound like I'm shouting, it is like hurricane force water rain down here in South Florida. Once again, it's called South Florida. We're literally in a swamp area. So that's why I hear Mr. Z being a little bit louder than normal. And I apologize about that. So yeah. And thank you, Toyo, for the super chat. And Toya says, I'm just here to remind y'all that likes are free. Hashtag black men are elite. Hashtag and hashtag 10 likes. 10 likes. What does that say? 10 likes a tell. 10 likes a tell? 10 likes lay tell? Something like that. I guess. Maybe. Kind of. Okay. Right. So yeah. Big Dog Prod says, damn, that's some Sojourner Truth turds. You see me? Right? And Big Kev says, tell him to do it, Z. Right? And Big Kev, we already know how this turns out, bro. We know how this turns out. You want to tell me, okay, 4% of black women of marriageable age are married outside of their race. Not 12%. That's when we only control for married black women. When we control for only married black women, it's 12%. When we look at all marriageable age black women, it's 4%. Okay. Y'all trying to tell me only 4% of 16 plus year olds? I know 60s are minors, but in certain states, 16-year-olds could get married. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying. Y'all trying to tell me only 4% of 16 plus year olds have had sex with only black men? Right? Oh, I'm saying that wrong. You're trying to tell me only 4% of black women, or at least marriageable age black women, have had sex with a white dude? Only 4%? That's what we saying? Right? Okay, fine. We're not going to count the minors. Only 4% of 18 plus year old black women have had sex with a white dude? Uh-oh. The reason why this conversation here matters, right? And I'm not going to put words in Obsidian's mouth or Shay Sade's mouth. The reason why Mr. Z is covering this, not only for what I told y'all earlier about how I came up and what I saw and what I was subjected to. No. It's not just that. It's because this matters in the overall conversation about marriage, about courting, right? About why young black people aren't getting married. Because what ends up, and this dovetails right into the Ebony K. Williams conversation, and so many black women saying, essentially, y'all are not on our level. The reason why this matters, it was never about black men not being on your level. Let me be very clear. It was never about black men not being educated. It was never about black men not building. It was never about black men not taking education seriously, not earning enough. It was never about any of that. It was never about too many black men being incarcerated or being convicted felons. It was never about any of that. It was because black men were black. and black men are black. That's what excuse me. That is what it is about, right? It was never about anything other than the fact that black men are black men in a white supremacist anti-black society. The reason why Mr. Z is covering this is to push back on this notion that black women have no other choice but to be with non-black men, primarily white men, and that is why they date out, or that's why they seek to date out. No, you seek to date out because you, once again, dear black women, particularly the swirlers and divestors, black women in luxury, black women empowerment, black women soft life, right? Dear black women, dear women of color, you have a colonized mind. Let me get into my Hotep bag real quick. Dear women of color, you are the ones with the colonized mind. That doesn't mean that there's not men of color. That doesn't mean there's not black men that have internalized anti-blackness. We're not even talking about that. The question is, what does internalized anti-blackness look like on black women? And what does a colonized mind look like on women of color generally? Right? It's that simple. I don't have to be bombastic about it. I don't have to be so irate. I don't have to engage in that. I could say it in this tone. And of course, I'm being a little bit loud because once again, it's raining in South Florida, right? I could speak in this tone right here. Hopefully, you guys can still hear me. I can use my whisper voice. I can use my library voice. Library, sorry, everyone. Right? We could speak at this tone right here and say, this is not about black men and what black men haven't built. This is about black women and other women of color internalizing white supremacy, white European beauty standards, white concepts of masculinity, and white patriarchy, white concepts of class, white concepts of wealth. This is what it's about. It's not about what black men haven't done, right? It's not about what black men haven't done. Could black men do better? Yes. Will that change the way many women of color, black women, view black men? No. Are black men doing this for them? Yes. And that's what we should do it for us, ourselves, and the black women and other women that's going along with us. All the rest of y'all can, well, fall off the edge of a cliff into some antidepressant pills, into some same sex relationships, and to get smashed down by the white dudes that you hope marry you one day. And there it is. See, Mr. Z doesn't. I'm using this tone of voice, everyone, for all of those people that they pretend like they're cringing when they hear someone assertive speak, when somebody's speaking with some authority, when somebody's being assertive in how they speak. The women that all of a sudden they want to start cringing and oh my god, and they want to become snowflakes. So Mr. Z can speak just like this, so that we can't say it's offensive. And why does he sound like that? And he sounds so mad, and it sounds like he got mommy issues, right? It's not like he hates black women. Meanwhile, Mr. Z only dates black women and will only date a black woman and will only marry a black woman. But for these people, they like to use excuses. So, Mr. Z, just in case y'all try to share this with y'all nieces, right? Or y'all girl cousins or your home girls, or maybe even your girlfriends and your wives. And he sounds so angry. So, y'all could skip to this part right here, timestamp it. We at 48 minutes, right? We're about 49 minutes. So, y'all could skip to 49 minutes and we could start with this tone right here. Dear black women, more and more data is coming out to show, in actuality, it's not black men that aren't loyal to black women. It's black women that aren't loyal to black men. More and more data is coming out, research by even other women, including mixed black women and black women, Latina women, Asian women, white women. More and more data is coming out. More and more data is being presented. More, right? that in actuality, it's not that black women are more loyal than black men are. It's that non-black men are too racist. They are the ones that are the colorist. They are the ones that's really truly the featurist, the texturist. All the things that black women levy on black men and use as excuses to date out or at least threaten to date out, in actuality, non-black men are really those men. They're the ones that have this propensity to be colorists and featurists and texturists and straight out just anti-black. We have more and more information and more data that comes out that says in actuality, black women have more children than black men. You know what that means? That means that black women are having more children with black men and more importantly with non-black men than black men are having with black women and once again importantly with non-black women. Dear black women, where's Chrissy now? Where's Cynthia G now? Where's Paris Milan now? Where's Real Talk with Yanni now? Where's Lexus Exodus now? Where's Mahogany Pink now? Where's hashtag Black Woman now? Where's Crystalline Kerosene now? Right? Where's Divested Zealot now? Where's Chris Logic now? Where's Shira 7 now? Where are these women now who their entire YouTube career was couched on black men lacking? Black men are deficient, defective, and that's why we should date out. Where are all of those women now? Now that the kids are put away and the adults are having conversations using data, history, facts. You got all the bar graphs and the pie charts on the wall. All the algebra and advanced math is on the chalkboard. Right? Now that we're having adult conversations, where are all of those women now? Right? And we'll pause right here. Let Mr. Z address his super chats. Right? All right. Thank you for the super sticker, Robert Jackson. Thank you very much, brother. And Better You, thank you for the super chat. And Better You says, the internet has exposed them all. This is the commodification of relationships / men. Y'all already know. Hey, you see that? Better You using Mr. Z talking points. I see you, brother. I see. Right? They view white men as foreign and their own was that demon time ultimate. Wait. Let's read that second sentence again. Wait. They view the white men as foreign and their own as demon time ultimas. Now, ultimate energy, right? Exactly. Right? Black men are the busted ultima, right? That ultimate energy. For those of you, I think the fastest way to say it, ultimate energy is this black Air Force energy in a car. That's all it is. Black Air Force energy in a car. So when you see people say the ultimate energy, right? Or like Better You said, demon time ultima, all it is just black Air Force energy for a car. It's I don't give a F. It's I don't give a F in car talk, right? Right? It's I'm about that life in car talk. And yeah, so yeah, the white man is seen as a foreign, right? He's a Lambo, he's a Rari, right? He's a big body Benz for all of us 90s kids, right? It was funny because they didn't used to say big body Benz. They say big bodied Benz. Like it was weird. Once again, hip hop language and whatnot, right? But yeah, he's a big body Benz. He's a Rari. He's a Lambo, right? He's a Porsche. And the black man is, a demon time ultima. Shout out to Better You, right? Yeah, so Obsidian came in, and that's that three punch for you, right? I'm not even gonna say the one hitter quitter. It's not that. It's not the left right. It's the left, right, and then that one hit that really knocks you out. So you had me, you had Shay Sade, now Obsidian's in on it. Now what? And God forbid, y'all let Obsidian or Shay Sade interview Jennifer Lundquist or Dr. Chantel. Dr. Jennifer Lundquist or Dr. Chantel Bugs. And Obsidian said the same thing Mr. Z said. These are not creatives. These are not YouTube content creators in the room anymore. Now we bringing the PhDs in. Where you at, Chrissy? Uh-oh. What happened? Where y'all at? Where you at, Paris? Oh no, we bring y'all want to keep on talking crap? Okay, fine. We'll bring the PhDs and the data now. Now we won't have to be reliant on your anecdotes. We were never relying on your anecdotes, by the way. But now we don't have to be reliant on your anecdotes. Let me tell you what a black man told me. And let me tell you about my daddy issues. And let me tell you about these black men and their colorist comments. We don't have to worry about that anymore. Oh no, the PhDs are in the room now. So we got brothers in here that are PhDs, from the Ronald Mills to the Dr. T. Hassans and the Green Gorillas and the Dr. Dunbars, right? We got the PhD. I'm not even going to count all the brothers with master's degrees. So we have them in the black manosphere, and now we're bringing in, and we're trying to have conversations with the PhDs that don't have nothing to do with not just the black manosphere, any manosphere. The Richard Reeves, the Dr. Jennifer Lundquist, the Dr. Chantel Bugs, right? The Scott Galloways. Yeah, now what? Where y'all at, ladies? All of you black men want to be sexist and they want to be patriarchal, and you get more and more data. Actually, black men are the most progressive group of men on the planet. Excuse me, in the country. Arguably on the planet, but definitely in the country. Black American men, black men in America are the most progressive men in America. As a matter of fact, black men are more progressive than many other women groups in America. Uh-oh. So let me get this right. Black men vote for black women and other women to be free and not to be reliant on men and to do their own thing if they want. And then those women, particularly black women, obviously, then turn around and tell black men how sexist they are, how colorist and featurist and texturist they are, how they don't build and provide. Meanwhile, black men literally voted for these women to do their own thing if they want to. Oh. Rest in peace, Kevin. You can't make this ish up. Right? You can't make this ish up. Huh. Every chance black men get to either put women back in the kitchen or let women do their own thing, be free, be stay-at-home moms if their man can provide that much, if their man can afford it, or go and work and do your own thing and become captain of industry if you want, have the corner office if you want, have the plaque with your name if you want. Every chance black men get, black men vote for women to be free and do their own thing and to have the same liberties and freedoms as men, if not more. And then those same women turn around and chastise black men and call black men sexist and patriarchal and misogynist. Meanwhile, those women are chasing after the white men that are sexist and misogynist and patriarchal. Wait a minute, Mr. Z, wait a minute. The math ain't mathing. The math ain't mathing. Wait, the 1 plus 2 times 3 and 7 plus minus subtracted by divided. Wait a minute. The math ain't mathing. The math ain't mathing. Huh. So, once again, shout out to Obsidian, shout out to Shay Sade, Mr. Z, pat yourself on the back, right? Because it's going to make it real difficult for these people to keep on talking, right? What they're gonna have to do is lie by omission, like Chrissy did when she read that insider article. Skip the important part, the part that's pretty much saying how black women are walking around these schools getting piped down by the white dude, and the white dude say, I'm not interested in no relationship, and then he's out here walking around holding the hands of a non-black woman. Ooh, goddamn. That part, Chrissy, that you skipped? Huh? Oh, wait, Chrissy wasn't the only one. Sorry. Crystal and Karazin and Themis, who covered it, also skipped that part too. Oop, yikes. And Ebony K. Williams talking about she not going to give us a soft place to land. Game on. And I don't care if you're an attorney. Game on. You're not going to give us somewhere soft to land? All right. All right. Hey, watch what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for. All right. Right? Why is it black women the only ones told to settle? All right. Right? Other women aren't told to settle. White women aren't told to settle. All right. Right? Well, y'all need to tell black men to step up. Step up into what? Being white men? We can't do that. I'm sorry. We came out of black womb and we're black. Sorry, we can't fit into your fantasy of being a chocolate dip white woman. Right? And shout out to Detroit. And Detroit says, Mr. Z, you ain't lying, bro. I was asked a question about my ethical I said ethical. Yeah, well, you did say ethical. My ethical background by black women that they were definitely interested dating out divest. Wait, I'm a little lost on this question. Mr. Z, you ain't lying, bro. I was asked a question about my ethical background by black women that they were definitely interested dating out or in divesting. I get what you're saying. Look, but that's the double standard, right? It's, and I've said it before. I need to say it again here. When black men date out, they date out because they hate themselves. They definitely hate black women, right? They're trying to achieve some form of white manhood and white masculinity, right? They think that they've earned enough to not, they see black women as lesser than them, right? So when black men date out, we're dating out for all the nefarious reasons, all of these dark reasons, these air quotes, bad reasons, right? But when black women date out, they date out because black men are just horrible. Black men are horrible husbands. Black men are colorists on the level of neo-Nazis. Black men do not appreciate the beauty and the greatness that is black women. So when black women date out, they're forced to date out because black men just aren't on their level, and the black men that are once again sexist, wannabe patriarchs, colorist, right, fat phobic, etc., etc. So of course these women that you're speaking about are going to ask you this question while they're also considering divesting, right? You better be loyal, black man. Meanwhile, I'm not loyal, although I claim to be loyal. And if I date out, I will always have an excuse that the reason why I dated out is because you, black men, aren't on my level. Right? You, black men, aren't on my level. That's why I dated out. So let's be very clear. Why Obsidian covering this again, Shay Sade covering it, Mr. Z covering it, why this matters in the grand scheme of things, in the era where people are having real concern about population decline and automation and family forming and nuclear families, why all of this matters. It's because this is what just another example and explanation why this is happening, particularly in the black community. Because there's a number of black women that are holding out for some white standard of for black men to accomplish some white standard of masculinity and patriarchy, or they'll just go get the real thing and go get them a white man. And because that's not working well, they're just sitting on their vagina. Which, by the way, Mr. Z is not against. I don't believe in none of this forced monogamy. I don't believe in this, forcing women to get married and have children. I'm not into none of that. But on the other side, you get what you get. If let's say 20-30% of black women in the black community got to end up like Ebony K. Williams out here talking crap about being single, so be it. Out here telling you how black men are not on their level and they're not trying to check for no blue collar black men, and how dare us try to regulate them to these lonely loser men. Fine, be single or go eat some vagina. There you go. Or you could just continue to try to bump into that wall that's ending up with a non-black man. You could try that. But that don't have anything to do with Mr. Z or other black men. Once you go over there, that's where you at. Right? Once you go over there, that's where you are. That's why this conversation, it actually is important. Yeah, we're speaking about it in the black manosphere, and it's kind of pop culture-y type of conversation. Yeah. But no, this conversation is actually important because it is pushing back on decades, not years, but decades of a steady stream of black men aren't loyal. Once black men get money, right? Once you get on, he leave your ass for a white girl. That type of narrative going on for decades. The Angela Bassett character in Waiting to Excel going on for decades. He cheating on you with the white woman, then he leave you for the white woman type talk. For decades. The O.J. Simpson narrative for decades. The Lionel Richie narrative for decades. And what we find out is black women actually want to engage in that even more than some of these pop stars that I mentioned or some of these athletes that I mentioned. It's just that the white guy is not giving them the opportunity, particularly the white man. Now, also other men of color, Latino and Asian men, but particularly the white man. And so this flies in all of the decades of black women being more loyal. Black women are too loyal, and that's their issue. They need to date out. And the more data that comes out that says, well, maybe it ain't dating, but they definitely having sex out. They definitely try to date. They're trying to date out. It's just not being reciprocated. Well, right. And Detroit says again, and thank you for the super chat again, brother. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat, hit the thank you button also for the replay squad. And Detroit says, you can add Nyla Blob, aka Nino V, Woman's Fears Simply Said, Cerebral, Divested Witch, and I got more coming, but you can put them on the list as well. Detroit, put them all on the list. Where are all of them? Where are y'all? See, if you just said, hey, I just want to date out because I want to date out. Or let's say it's physical features. If y'all want to flip the script on, hey, I want someone with green eyes, and white men got green eyes. Some of them got green eyes, so that's what I want. I want someone with blue eyes, and white men got blue eyes, so all right. Right? If that's what it was about, fine. But it was always couched as, no, we're dating out because black men are lacking somehow. Black men are defective or deficient somehow. That's why we're dating out. Listen to the word divest. I am divesting from black men because black men are lacking. I'm going to swirl with non-black men, particularly white men, because black men are lacking. That's how it was framed. It was not framed that, hey, I grew up around white dudes, that's what I found attractive, and I got me a white husband, and that's what it is. It was not framed as, you know what, I met some dude and some white guy in college, and we hit it off, and then 7 years later we married, we got kids, we got our house in the burbs, and I'm doing good, he's doing good. It wasn't framed like that. Look at Ebony K. Williams was a prime example. How did she frame it? She was asked, "Hey, would you date a bus driver?" No. Fine. Well, that's not what she said. If he owned the bus, then she came back around because of all the hoopla, all the fanfare, and she came back around and essentially said, "Why do y'all want me to date these lowly loser men, these mediocre men? Read black men." Right? Like she could have just said, "Hey, bro, I'm trying to live this nice, super comfortable life, and I'm trying to have a man take care of me financially. And because I'm already rich, I need a man that's even richer than me." She could have said that. No, we got to take this opportunity to defecate on black men. Right? So yeah, Detroit, we could add all these people back on the list. Add all of them on the list. It's the lack of honesty. It's the double standard. Right? It's the lying by omission. It's not being genuine. The disingenuousness of it all. That's why we gotta ask these women, where are you now? Now we got the PhDs in the room. No wonder y'all were dancing on Kevin's grave. So y'all was dancing on Kevin's grave. What y'all gonna do when some of us brothers, as we get older, we start passing away? And we were the ones that brought the PhDs in the room. We're the ones who put y'all back to the wall with the data and the numbers and the research. Not just, well, let me tell you about this one black woman that said this. Oh no, oh no. Dear black women, dear women of color, men and women don't argue the same way. We not arguing our feelings over here. Oh no. It's straight data over here. So y'all could go. Where's Ralph Richard Banks when you? Where's Ralph Richard Banks? What happened? Y'all that's the one person y'all keep on referencing. Well, Ralph Richard Banks did a book, and he talked about how color and black women need a date out because the numbers just don't add up. You got one. You have one. Do y'all really want us to say this is the internet? You gotta love the internet. The internet will expose us all. You gotta love it. That's why the dating divide is important. The dating divide is important, and these other conversations that are being had because of research, because of black demographics, because of Pew Research, right? When you mix all of these things together, and that's all we do in the black manosphere, right? When you mix Pew Research with black demographics, with FBI statistics, with the census, right? With online dating statistics, when you continue to read over and pore over these numbers, it tells you the real, and it causes you, and it helps for you not to be delusional and not to be naive about the world you live in. Shout out to my brothers and sisters that watch news. All the people that we grew up around, I don't watch news. It's too depressing. 15 years later, they don't know what's going on in the world. They're naive as hell. They're whimsical. They're uninformed. They're delusional. I'm looking at y'all women. I'm looking at y'all XX chromosome. They don't watch news. When they hear you listening to something on your phone, that's so depressing. I don't know why you keep on listening to things like that. Meanwhile, you know what's going on in the world and they don't. Meanwhile, you have a solid head on your shoulders and they're delusional. right? Meanwhile, you know the probability of certain things going a certain way, and they don't. They're the ones that's coming up with all the rhythm spoons ideas. Once again, I'm looking at you, XX chromosome, right? But we are, right? We're the sexists over here as black men. Meanwhile, black women want to be with the sexists. We're the misogynists over here. Meanwhile, black women want to be with the misogynists. We're the colorists over here. Meanwhile, black women want to be with the colorists. Right? Huh. We're the ones that don't appreciate community. Meanwhile, black women want to leave the community and go end up with the men that help to destroy the community. Ooh, damn, Mr. Z. To produce tragic mulatto children, send them to a nice school in the burbs, and then wonder why your daughter have identity issues on top of the fact that she was already mixed. You wonder why your son is LGBTQ and your daughter chasing after white dudes. God damn. Huh. But never mind, Mr. Z. I mean, what do I know? And y'all remember, Mr. Z is a community college dropout. All of these educated women over there on the other side talking out of their ass. Now we got the PhDs in the room. Now what? Uh-oh. And this is for online dating statistics. And by the way, the reason why that matters is, as I said before, I said this when I covered it, online is where people are meeting now. It's no longer, they're not necessarily dating through work. You know, all of these things have been surpassed. Meeting someone through your family or through your friends or through the workspace, right? People are more meeting online to date, court, have sex, etc., right? That's why the online dating statistics matter, by the way. For those of you that's gonna say, well, that's only online, and that shouldn't really count because you still stuck in the '90s or the early aughts where dating online was weird and it's kind of like cringy and like, ooh, you meeting people online, loser? Can't you just meet somebody in person? Yeah, we don't live in that time anymore. Especially in the era of Me Too and street harassment. Yeah, we don't live in that time anymore. So if the online dating statistics are telling you that your daughter of color worship at the altar of the white penis, then that might be something you might want to investigate. Right? And Elkston says, and thank you for the super chat. Elkston says, okay, but I don't want our argument to be, well, let continue doing what they want. I want there to be black male patriarchy. I hear you, brother. I hear you. No, I'm not disagreeing with you. What I'm saying is, if they're not getting down with our program, then let them eat cake. Oh, and Mr. Z's on his Marie Antoinette. Oh yeah. If you're not getting down with a black man's program, then so be it. Go over there and stay over there. I'm with Big Kev on this one. I'm with Edward Anderson on this one. Go over there and stay over there. And then if you say, you know what, I'm gonna give it 5-6 years. If I don't got me a white man, I'm gonna jump back to the black community. No, you're not. It's one thing, and this is, kind of iffy, but it's one thing. Once again, like I said, if you meet a white dude in college and you're not even on that, y'all meet, y'all have sex, y'all get married, y'all have children, something happened to him. Next thing we know, you with a brother after that. That's a different story, but that's not what's happening. Y'all are going out hunting for the white dudes. And if it fails, then you want to come back to the black community claiming some type of fake loyalty. No. Or claiming, I was over there because, when growing up, it's just my skin color and you guys were insulting me and and my nose and the boys weren't interested in and I thought I was ugly and y'all made me feel ugly. No. Shout out to Ostefco. No. And the black, I wasn't worried about the black jocks. The black nerds weren't checking for me either. They weren't looking at me either. So I had to go to prom with the white guy. Shout out to Kim Foster. So I hear what you're saying, Elkston. I hear you. What I'm saying is, nope. If what they're looking for is a one-to-one white patriarchy, go over there and stay over there. And if it fails, and if you are regulated to the bust down for them over there, and they just pass you around, and you have 2, 3, 4 mixed white kids from 2, 3, 4 white dudes, Latino dudes, then so be it. Right? Then so be it. That's what I'm saying. And the reason, once again, because I don't want the point to escape us, with the dating divide is important because of the conversation and the narrative that has been happening over the past few decades. Right? Now, Obsidian brought it back all the way to Jack Johnson. Right? And we already know about the Mann Act and everything like that. We already know, right? But Obsidian brought it all the way back there, which I would agree with, by the way. But Mr. Z is definitely talking about from about Loving versus Virginia on up, right? And you get the trope coming out of some of the sisters from the Black Panther Party, and these men are out here talking black and sleeping white, and that type of rhetoric just permeates the black community decades down till today, where black women are still saying that, and they're misinterpreting Malcolm X's quote. The most disrespected, the most unprotected woman is the black woman, and they still saying that. That's why the dating divide is important, right? That is why the dating divide is important, right? And Better You says, when I said, are they going to be dancing on our graves? Better You says, shorty, you not qualified. You can't dance on my grave with them busted ass shoes on. Better You said, hey, don't you be dancing on my grave with it. Hey, I will I will grab your feet and pull you down in this casket. Right? You better get some nice heels to be dancing on my grave. Right? If you're gonna be twerking on my grave, if you're gonna twerk on Mr. Z grave, Mr. Z would prefer you do it in some red heels. I like women in red heels. Right? You could come and dance and twerk on Mr. Z grave with some red heels on. Right? Preferably. Right? And Detroit says Bossy Empress Cheeseburger Express, Taz the abusive, Madam Carol, right? Stephanie Big Daddy House, Detroit going in, right? But yeah, so we we have to make this type of thing known. This has to permeate the entire black community. right? Because this is about our image and our likeness, right? This is about our image and our likeness. And like I was saying this morning, for too long, these particular women, not Toya, not Toya's mom. For those that y'all didn't check out, I think it might be still on Toya's channel. Shout out to Toya if she's still listening. You could see how Toya mom was speaking about black men. Not Toya and her mom. Not those type of black women. We're not talking about the Kareems. Believe it or not, we're not even talking about the women from the breakdown. We're not talking about them, right? We're talking about the Ebony K. Williams of the world, the Chrissies of the world, all the women that I've listed and that the brother Detroit listed. Those women have had the microphone. The Gales and the Oprahs have had the microphone for decades. And Oprah told you when what's her name, Diane Sawyer or whoever it was, 2020 asked her, and she told you she wished she was a white woman at one white girl. Mr. ZA never wished he was a white boy or a white man as an adult. Ever. Did I say, goddamn, them dudes got some money over there? Yes. But did I want to be one? No. Not socially, not even politically, believe it or not. Economically, well, that's a different conversation. You wanted to be a white woman, Oprah, and what is white womanhood built on except for other than, excuse me, what is white women built on other than the oppression of other people? The beauty standard is built off the exploitation and the oppression of other people, including women of your likeness. No one had to tell me that as a little boy. Right? So yeah, list all those women. This type of information needs to permeate the entire black community to make it real difficult for them to keep on saying, well, the reason why I date out, the reason why I want to date out, the reason why I want a non-black man, and by the way, nothing wrong with you wanting a non-black man, particularly a white man. That is not the conversation. For all of you that think we're saying that you shouldn't be, no, we're actually telling you to go over there and stay over there. But stop dragging our name through the mud because you want to go over there. Just go over there. And clearly, the white man don't care nothing about what you saying when you go over there saying, I'm over here because the black man ain't ish. He goes, yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, keep on. Yeah, keep on doing that. Okay, I'm done. Fling you out the car and he got out of there. So yeah, we have to defend our image. What they said, defend America from both foreign and domestic. Unfortunately, we got to defend our image even from domestic, from some black women. That's unfortunate. That's truly unfortunate. That it's not just non-black people. It's not just racist white folks. It's not just, anti-black and racist Latinos and Asians and Arabs and Persians. Unfortunately, we have to defend our image from being drugged through the mud by even black women. That's unfortunate, but that's why Mr. Z is here. Right? That's unfortunate, but hey, right? Exactly. Right? And how do I pronounce your name, brother? Smurp. Oh yeah, don't that, yeah, that's not gonna happen. I'm trying to pronounce it. Okay, I'm not gonna pronounce it. I'm gonna try to spell it out after the stream, right? Because I don't want to sound as embarrassing as I'm probably gonna sound trying to spell it out. But the brother says, "Stay over there, Ed voice," right? Exactly. Stay over there. Stay over there, and that's all. And shout out once again, shout out to Obsidian, shout out to Shay Sade, Mr. Z, me. Pat yourself on the back for covering this, but definitely shout out to Obsidian because he actually read the book. I did not. Right. I definitely looked it up, so Mr. Z's gonna have to buy it and read it. Right. And once again, the reason why this is important is remember that think about the time we're going through. The birth rate in the black community is what 1.8, 1.7 in America, something like that. You got researchers looking around. So for all of your, excuse me, for all of your cousins, your female cousins with 3, 4, 5, 6 different children from 3, 4, 5, 6 different men, there's a bunch of you that got sisters and girl cousins that are well into their 30s, maybe even 40s with no children. Maybe one kid, maybe. Well, because they think like Ebony K. Williams, right? They think like Chrissy, right? They think like Yanni. They think like Kim Foster. And a lot of that is predicated on black men and what black men are lacking. And what this data and what this information shows is actually, it might be because you're delusional, or it might be because you are the one that's considering the European beauty standard, the European concept of success and acquisition and wealth. Right? Maybe you're the one who wants the white patriarch. It's not that black men want to be white patriarchs. It's that you want the white patriarch. Even Jennifer Lemquist said it. Patriarchy. White patriarchy. Not just patriarchy, no. White patriarchy. Dear women of color, let me get this right. Y'all spend decades talking about patriarchy negatively when in reality you just wanted to be down with white men's patriarchy and to destroy whatever male-led situation you were coming from as an Asian woman, as a Latin woman, as a black woman. Huh. So when y'all said y'all anti-patriarchy, y'all meant y'all were anti-patriarchy for everybody but white men. That's the patriarchy we want to keep, right? We want to keep that patriarchy. And they're the only ones deserving of patriarchy. Ain't that right, FD signifier? They're the only ones that's deserving of leading their families, protecting their families, providing for their families. I wonder what FD signifier would have to say about the dating divide. Well, it's the patriarchy. We need to get rid of the patriarchy. Well, there's no black patriarchy. So now what? Wait a minute. There's no black patriarchy, and so many of these black women want white men. Huh. So FD signifier, what you got to say about that? Kim Foster, what do you have to say about that? T Noor, what do you have to say about that? Khadijah, what do you have to say about that? Conscious Lee, what do you have to say about that? Amanda Marianne, what do you have to say about that? Right? Huh. And Spain Man says, and thank you for the super chat. Spain Man says, when they blame their divesting on black men dating out, they're indirectly claiming that they'd stop if black men interracial rate went to zero, trail tax included. Right? And exactly. And by the way, exactly, Spain Man. And what's going to be difficult for them is they can't make that argument anymore, right? They can't make that argument anymore. Yep. Huh. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just laughing because you know I didn't catch it yesterday. I see that because I had ideas of calling into Obsidian, but I didn't know the stream was going to be so long. It was 6 hours long. So I missed the part where he bought in the panel because I probably was going to say much of what I said here. And shout out to the brother Obsidian. I know we disagree politically, but every time I've been on his show, he's been nothing but gracious to me, right? So yeah, so I was gonna pretty much say everything I said here, right? Obviously, Obsidian wouldn't have given me this much time to say this type of stuff, but he's always given me time to speak when I ask to speak when I'm called in. So yeah, now what, right? Now what? And you could add that to what Phil Scott covered the other day, which is like more and more these young men in general would rather be home jerking off and playing video games. I've said it. As a matter of fact, Mr. Z has been saying that for years in the Black Manosphere. These dudes would just instead of dealing with you, Chrissy, or you, Yanni. You could, oh, y'all are little boys. No, these men are fine. And this is the thing, y'all use the insult so much they have no effect. So y'all are little boys. Yeah, okay, I'm a little boy. Instead of dealing with you and that attitude and that mouth, yeah, I got my own place. Yeah, I got a nice car. Yeah, I make some good money or at least stable money. But I'd rather just jack off and play video games. Yeah, instead of dealing with that. Y'all, you know what the problem is? You never thought we would get to a place where men weren't sex hounds, where you implying or suggesting sex would make them bend to your will. You never thought it would happen. So many women never thought it would happen, right? And we're here now. And we're here now. Now what? Right? And FD, yeah, he did say that. The black community is a matriarchy. Shout out to Edward Anderson for finally getting him to say it. Ian, thank you very much for the Cash App. Thank you very much. Right? I said Cash App. Yeah, Cash App. Sorry. But I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I'm discombobulated here. But yeah, thank you very much. Right? And yeah, once again, shout out to Edward. He was getting that work. Now when he speaks about just pearly things, FD don't mention that he got that work on Bernard's channel. Right? Because nobody, look, let me say this once again. Let's be very clear. One of the issues that we have in the black community, and this is kind of sidebar comment from the main part of this video. They don't want to admit that the black community is a matriarchy if you want to be kind, a gynocracy if you want to be accurate. They don't want to admit that because then you have to admit that you understand everything that has happened since. You have to admit that now everything else makes perfect sense. If you admit that the black community is a matriarchy if you want to be kind, a gynocracy if you want to be accurate, then everything else makes sense. Okay, let's say you're right. The black men with some money are trying to run out. That makes sense now. Right? The passport bros make sense now. The SYSBM brothers make sense now. The rich, famous, celebrity black men that date out, they make sense now. Black men talking about they're not allowed to lead their families in the black community and black women being boss hogs. That makes sense now. See, if you admit that the black community is a matriarchy, everything makes sense now. Your uncle that went to go get some milk and never came back, his kids ain't seen him for 20 years. His ex-wife, well, his ex-wife ain't seen him for 15, 20 years. It makes sense now. That 80% divorce rate for the married black women, it makes sense now. The child out of birth wedlock rate, it makes sense now. Because contrary to popular belief, well, if it's a matriarchy, wouldn't those women want to be married to those men? No, because that gets in the way of their concept of freedom and liberty. Because those vows are real. And a husband and a baby daddy are two different things. So once again, that child out of wedlock birth rate makes sense when you realize that the black community is a matriarchy if you want to be kind, a gynocracy if you want to be accurate. So yeah, shout out to you, Spain man. Yeah, he did say that. The black community is a matriarchy. FD, yes. Right? It makes sense. And shout out to you, Afro National, for the super sticker. Thank you very much. Right? So yeah, everybody, that's all I got. I'm kind of poofed. But I just want to stress that. Look, to all the black women that want to date out, you want to go divest or swirl, do your thing, go. Shout out to Big Kev, shout out to Edward Anderson. Go. There's nothing wrong with that. Go ahead. Right? But please, for the life of God, stop insulting and insulting black men, and then insinuating that the reason why you're leaving is because black men are lacking or black men are defective or black men are deficient. More and more data is coming out that's saying, yeah, that's not even the reason. You just want to be over there. It's your concepts of masculinity that flies in the face of what black men are because they're black, not because of anything they're lacking, because they're black in a white supremacist society. You're the one who worship at the altar of white patriarchy and white men. You're the one who has really internalized European concepts of beauty, European concepts of class, European concepts of wealth, European concepts of power. You have. That's why the dating divide is important. Because of the black women like Ebony K. Williams and like all of the women that Detroit listed, that I have listed also. That's why the dating divide is important. Because it's just one more example, right, of why the black community is in the state that it's in and why other communities of color are in the state that they're in. This also explains why so many women sound absolutely insane and delusional when they speak about providing, when they speak about protecting, because their concepts are built off of some white dude from some movie somewhere. James Bond somewhere, right? This has nothing to do with what black men are lacking and what black men aren't, outside of not being white men, of course. Right? And so for those of you, y'all heard when I went soft voice, I think it was around the 49-minute mark. So If you want to play it for the women, y'all play it around the 45, excuse me, not 45, 49-minute mark. That's when Mr. Z gets. That's when Mr. Z puts on the whisper voice. You know, the library voice. You know, this voice right here. It's my fake soothing voice, right? Because people like to use excuses. Or he sound like he mad. He sound like he angry at his mom. He got mommy issues. He hate black women. So you have to put on this voice, right? What did the lady say on the crew? Well, do you have to call? What did she say? Because they always want you to use some soft ass language, some euphemism for something, right? What did she say? Do you have to call them masculine? Can't we say that? What did she say? Can't you say that they've just adopted certain male like or man like qualities, something along those lines? Just some. It's Let's call a thing a thing. Before I end out, let's call a thing a thing. The reason why you want us to use the most soft language humanly possible, the euphemisms, right? The reason why you want us to use that, the reason why you want us to first preface our statement with 20 minutes of other statements is because you don't actually want to hear what we're saying. It's worse than just your little fragile ass feelings. You want it to be so soft, so subtle that we didn't really say anything. So non-offensive that we didn't really say anything. Right? I remember, and this reminds me of I think was it an interview that George Carlin did? Because he did it on an interview also, but it was also part of one of his stand-ups where he spoke about euphemisms and how it's like, when did human beings become so fragile that we had to keep on using euphemism? Just incessantly using softer and softer and softer language and never getting to the point and never getting to the ugly. That's why you gotta like really appreciate some of the black elders, and they talk about funk and stink and get into the ugliness of things, right? Because that's also what it means to be human, is to accept the ugliness of certain things. And so many of these snowflakes, whether they be some men but definitely women, they just want you to use the most soft, unoffensive language humanly possible, and you actually end up not saying anything. Longo, that I like that. And Longo says they never hear what's being said anyway, too busy listening with their mouths. I never heard that one before. That's a good one. That's a good one. Right. Right. That's a good one. That's a good one. Right. And Spain Man said you went full Edward Anderson on dude. I think you mean yesterday. Yeah, yeah, man. Look, you see, I end up jumping off, and I skimmed around after I jumped off a few hours later, and it seemed like he was still on the same thing. So yeah, yeah, dude, what just was there to disrupt the conversation. He ain't saying nothing. Talking loud and ain't saying much of nothing. Right. So yeah, yeah. So on that note, okay, so this is Mr. Z covering the dating divide. I was supposed to make this a panel, wasn't I? Goddamn. I'm sorry, y'all. So what we'll do, it might not be. So I'm Black Manosphere Show of the Week on Sunday, this upcoming Sunday anyway. So we'll probably do a panel anyway. So if not tomorrow, we'll definitely do a panel Sunday night anyway, right? So I'm trying to see what topic I want to cover, or if I just want to make it just an open, weekly wrap up and then a panel discussion. We'll see. Because I actually wanted to talk to BGS about certain AI stuff and things like that, and yeah. Was it AI or was it something else? If I could have bought BGS and Green Gorilla on, I think it might have been something else, right? But yeah, so let's hold out for the panel for Sunday night, right? And let's go from there, right? Yeah, let's do that. Oh, look, Diaspora asked me a question. Let's see. What are your thoughts on Juicy being a mom? I look, out of all of the lefties over there, the person I take to the most, probably, at least from what we see on the outside, right? And I still got my disagreements with her, right? Would probably be Juicy. Because Juicy come at these things at a certain angle where she's like, okay, y'all look crazy over there. And like Kim, no, let me tell you something. I would argue Kim knows as much as Juicy about everything or more. She's just so about defending black women's position that she would either lie by omission, not say anything, right, ignore certain stuff, or like play patty cake with a lot of stuff. Now, every once in a while, it looked like it get even too overwhelming for her, and she'll say something like when she spoke about black women in luxury. Like her segment on black women in luxury was one of the best ones I saw on the subject. I'm talking about Kim Foster, right? But once again, I would probably Julesy. There's a couple of them that like embarrassed to say, but honestly, that I think I could even be around in real life, right? But Julesy being a mom, I could see that she at least her online persona isn't insufferable. At least for her online persona, she's not insufferable. So I could definitely see her being a mom, right? The rest of them, I feel sad for that man and the kids. I feel sad for the man and the kids. The rest of them, I'm not even gonna say their names. Right? God bless you to whatever children they have, if they ever have children, and to the man that they end up with. Wow. And I mean that for the divestors, the swirlers, and all some of those lefty, black women. I ain't even gonna say their names. Right? And maybe that's another reason why so many of us aren't parents and don't want to be parents. In a weird way, we don't even know how to wipe our own ass. So how are we going to bring children into this world and then raise those children, right? Because you have to have structure, and like these people don't even know damn structure. That's why even FD Signifier got to admit to you, like at least his home life is pretty conservative, even as a lefty. So yeah, Julesy, I could see her as a mom. She at least her online persona doesn't come off as insufferable, right? So you know, and shout out to her. Congratulations on the baby. Look, we like black we like black people over here, so we don't. Now I don't know if I'm almost certain she didn't have that child in wedlock, right? She ain't never show her dude, or at least maybe she did on Instagram if she has an Instagram account or whatever. But I ain't see no dude, but whatever. But we like black people over here, so a new black person on the planet, that's a good thing. And Juicy is doing pretty well in life. I'm pretty sure. I don't see her child being a nuisance on the planet or an issue. So congratulations to her and to the child's father. There's some of these other ones that if they had a baby on the way, I'd be like, oh crap, what are we gonna do? She's about to be a mom. Oh God, she's about to import her ways on a child. Oh my God, right? Jeez, right? And Spademan says, I'd love to see a day in the life of FD's home. Let me find out he's a strong patriarch with his family. A part of me feels like he is, even though he said at one point his wife was earning more than him. FD don't look like no pushover in his real life. And I think he was a teacher at one point. A teacher in a hood school. Yeah, that brother ain't no pushover in real life, right? I'm almost certain he's not a pushover in real life. And I understand I'm a lefty, but bro, when it comes to this man woman thing, especially as a brother, you were off the market at 21. You met your wife, she was 19 and you were 21 and y'all were in college. You have no idea what these women sound like, bro. You have no idea, not just sound like, what they are when you're dating them, what they are after y'all have sex. You have no idea. You got lucky. You were out the game first quarter, 21. That's just 3 years after becoming an adult. 21, you were out the game early. You have no idea, right? Jeez. So yeah, so sometimes with FD talk, especially when I found out, I'm like, bro, no wonder you sound the way you do. You don't know. Like, yeah, it's one thing to hear your aunts them say something crazy and some of your wife's homegirls or whatever. Yeah, that's one thing. But for you to experience it yourself, for you to be sitting across the table from a O Stefco, for you to be sitting across the table from a Chrissy, from a Yanni, right? Okay, I know we on our fourth date, but yeah, so let's talk about this house and this money thing. What? Wait, whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, because I ain't gonna have no man wasting my time. Whoa. Which is funny because 3 years later they'll still be single. Yikes. So FD didn't experience that. So yeah, man. But I think in his personal life, yeah, that brother don't come off. He don't come off as as soft or a pushover. And he got two boys. He can't be that. If I'm not mistaken, he's in the Atlanta region and he's from Chicago. Yeah, no, I put money. FD is not. He ain't no pushover. He's not. He's not. Right. And that's why I never spoke about him like he was. He's not. I always knew. I knew exactly what type of person FD signifier was from the jump. Right. We all have a cousin like that. That was raised in the burbs. They kind of had a nicer life than the rest of us in the hood, maybe, but they still weren't no pushover. And they were. I made a video about that when he went in on the brothers. When they were on the panel and he was in the chat listening in, flaming their ass, and he made the video flaming them. I know exactly what type of brother FD signifier is. That's why when he was on my channel, I spoke to him the way I did. That's why in the comments I speak to him the way I do. Yeah, he probably is a lowercase p patriarch. And that's pretty much what black men are. Very few black men could be capital P patriarchs. Very few black men want to be capital P patriarchs. You know the grape and pillage kind? I mean like the white patriarchs but chocolate dip? Most black men ain't trying to do that. I know black women like the Terry McMillans and the Oprahs of the world and the Gayle Kings of the world like to talk like black men want to be that, but that's not black men. The Bell Hooks of the world, yeah, they like to talk like, they like to speak like that's what black men are on. That's not what black men are on, right? So on that note, all right, we'll close it out here. We're about to hit an hour. I mean 2 hours. What am I saying? An hour. Yeah, right, Mr. Z. You an hour. Um. So yeah, like I said, maybe Sunday will come. Well, actually Sunday I'm Black Manosphere, so I do gotta have a show on Sunday night. So Sunday night, right? We'll do Black Manosphere show of the week, and definitely gonna have a panel up, and yeah. So we'll see who joins. I'm really opening the invitation to the academics, to BGS, obviously, the usual crew. If Ed want to stop by, obviously Charles and everybody, Art New Style and all the brothers. Art of Immore, I know Art of Immore schedule is different now. Shout out to the brother for the new job. I know he's been there for a little while now, but still shout out, right? And I'm supposed to be artisan MC. Maybe that might be part of the Black Manosphere show of the week. Is me racing artisan MC? Maybe. Let's see. Oh, for those of y'all that don't understand, me and artisan MC both have Gran Turismo 7, and we've raced once so far, right? So when I'm saying that, I'm saying me and artisan MC racing online, right? So yeah, so we'll just end it there. All right, everybody. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Right, we'll pause right here. Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content and other non-Manosphere content please, for the love of God. So y'all don't sound like these weirdo people, these myopic people, these people that are looking at the world through a straw, right? And shout out to Shay Sade, shout out to Obsidian, Mr. Z, pat yourself on the back. All of us covering the dating divide, obviously. Shout out to Shay and Obsidian for actually reading the book. There's that. And we'll end it right there. All right, everybody. Y'all have a great rest of y'all day. And Mr. Z out.